Welcome to the October 2017 Metro Northville Community Council meeting. I'm pleased to see that we have a member we've not seen in a while here, and I'm happy to hear Francina on the phone. So thank you for giving us a bit of your time. Can we get an approval of the agenda for today?
I so move.
Second? Okay. Minutes were sent out by email. Any updates, corrections, or anything for the minutes? Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Approved. Our chair's report was sent out. And we have now busing operations in 2 places on the west of Hudson, and so the work hopefully is going on, and it'll get completed by the end of next month on Pascack Valley, and in November on the Port Jervis line. Okay, so board report.
Do you have any?
Again, I want to thank you guys for voting for electing me last year. It was a long process till it finally happened, but I'm happy to sit there, and I do participate. I try to say something in every meeting, unlike some of my fellow board members who are not so moved to speak. But I'm never going to probably comment on finance items because that's not one of my expertise, but if it has to do with operations and maintenance, you're going to get my opinion. Yeah, the meetings have been interesting.
Well, committees choose it up.
I requested and the chairman approved assignment to the Metro North Committee, the Railroad Committee, and the New York City Transit and Bus Committee. So those are 3 that I have familiarity with, so I'm happy to be here. And the fact that I have all the contacts now, if I see something I don't like or something wrong, they get notified right away, and the chairman responds, and it's a very nice group of people to work with. Again, thank you. Although when do we have to start the process again? It's a 6-year term, but I'm filling out the balance of a 6-year term. So I expire January 1st of 2019.
So generally, what we would do is we would send the governor a letter in the fall of 2018, and say that we request
I'll be a holdover.
Yeah. And you will be a holdover for probably at least 4 months until they get to the end of the 6 months. Yeah, really.
And then he who should not be named will come in. You shouldn't be here anymore because you're a holdover.
Yeah,
He does. He does. He goes after the board. It's not their fault. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be at least May probably before you would get voted on. They just don't confirm people unless they have
It's a low priority thing for them. Okay, so new member update. So what does the staff have to say about new members? I have one proposed from Ossining in Westchester County.
He's very qualified.
Very well qualified. Retired Metro North General Counsel, has a lifetime of experience in the railway street, and would be a superb addition.
We're told that he was proposed, although there's a lot of confusion over whether he ever got to the governor's appointments office.
This is the first time, I think, isn't it, that there's been this disconnect?
Last August, Francis was taking care of it.
Francis was taking care of it, and he said that he said that he had talked to the former chief of staff to the county executive, and the chief of staff said no, a letter was sent. However, I've gotten mixed signals over the last year from the governor's appointments office. The first time I asked them about it, they said, "Oh yes, we have it." Subsequent calls, they've said they've never heard of the guy.
But then we have so many of those happening right now.
Well, we have issues with the other folks that they say they have never gotten, they've never received. I've been told that the governor's appointments office is under a lot of stress, but this is not. It isn't good. It isn't good. But we did get a commitment from the head of the office. If we can send them the recommendation letters, she will start the process. So we are working on getting those from the local officials, so we can
carry it up there to them.
Well, we can email it to them. She's willing to take it. She's willing to take a PDF by email. But,
So who was it coming, was it coming from Astorino?
no, the one for Walter was to come from.
Francis.
Yeah, well, I think he actually wanted it to come from the county, but,
David Buchwald said he could do it. He sent us the copy of the part of the law, which I sent to you guys, it said he could do it.
no, I know he can.
Yeah.
I know he can, but I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to have the county executive do it, because he had talked the last time, what he told me is that he had talked to the county executive's office, and they had gotten it done, and he said that he had talked to George Orris, who was the former chief of staff, who said, well, yes, it was sent, I know it was sent, and so it's,
Well, and then there's the election, because
Francis-
Astorino is running
yes.
again.
Yes.
So is he?
well, and
Yes, nothing to
Francis,
do with
Is
this.
there, well, if you end up with a new one, then.
Give up the paper, here, sign it.
and all you have to do is send, I mean,
So
all
why
you
did
have
he
to do is
want
send the letter.
the county executive
I-
instead of himself? That's just.
I think because he's involved.
Wait, was that Francis or David?
Francis,
Buchwald?
Francis,
Oh, I thought it was David.
no.
David is not allowed to,
He can't do it,
but he did research the law.
He's not a local.
And sent me the law that says-
He's not a local official, I mean, it's a
I see.
local,
He's
official.
a-
He's a state
He's hired.
official.
If he
Yeah,
could have
he's a
done it, he
state
would have done it.
Yeah, he would have done David.
Yeah, I think he would have done it when he was a town councilman for White Plains, but he can't do it now. So Francis has said he has.
But Francis can do it himself.
He can do it himself.
But he doesn't
He's
want-
also, but he's also running for a seat on the county legislature right now. I mean, he's been in the campaign, that may have something to do with it. I
Could
don't
we
know.
talk to Francis and see if he'd be more willing, because it's
I've
pretty
talked,
easy?
we've talked to him before,
When's the last time we chatted?
no, this is, I mean, I reminded him he can do it himself, and he doesn't. The last time I talked to him was probably the end of last month, and at that time, he said he has talked to the county people, and they will do it. But it has not
They
been
haven't
sent.
done
It has not been sent yet, so I'm going to ask.
Okay, so you were out and about very actively a few months ago. Where the people that you spoke to stand on?
They said they sent letters, though. White Plains mayor and Mayor
Both.
Rochelle said they sent
Both
letters.
have said they.
Were they willing to share it with you so that?
So,
you
I'm
could-
waiting for a call back from
We
them
just need to
to-
get, we just need to get those so we can send them
Yeah, if you could
electronically.
call them and ask them if they would know.
Yeah.
Send us the letters.
Yeah,
so
if
we
we
can-
can get an electronic copy,
something.
and we will make sure it gets to the people where that it needs to get.
And then it might have been the mayor of Yonkers, I'm not sure where that.
I don't think that one ever materialized.
Yeah,
I don't think that one ever materialized, but definitely White Plains and New Rochelle were doing this. And we need to make sure that the Putnam exec knows how to do this, because, again, everybody seems to be on board with having the Brewster mayor on the council.
And Neil just sent me an email this morning introducing me to him, so I'll get in touch
Yeah,
with him.
it just needs to be done.
So has his paperwork been submitted? That's.
No, to my knowledge, no.
Yeah, I will call him when we're on the way going home.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be in the quiet.
Right, yeah. So that's where they stand. Well, if we can get these four people on board, we'll have a pretty good council.
We have 5 vacancies. We need
We have
some.
5 vacancies, we need Bronx.
Putnam is
We
one.
need
Yeah,
the
so we have
Bronx.
3 people off from Westchester.
We need the Bronx,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what we need, and that
Marisol said she was gonna speak with the
Marisol is,
and I talked to her at the last GRC meeting,
yeah.
no, I talked to somebody else from the borough president's office.
I mean, I'd like to have them back there.
Yeah,
It seems like I mean, I feel like maybe we should call him ourselves
well, yeah.
and find out, does he want to be on it? And they were trying to see if they could pull back the resignation to make it that much simpler. But, having
Yeah.
take these steps is.
Well, all they really, you know, they should just send the recommendation, period.
In all cases,
And
just them.
get it started, get the process going.
Yes, I think it's a
Yeah.
shame that we're in the worst shape of all the councils.
Yeah.
We have the fewest
Yeah.
members.
And we shouldn't.
No,
So White Plains and Yonkers have submitted, and you're gonna get the paperwork.
New Rochelle.
I'm sorry, oh, New Rochelle?
New Rochelle.
Yeah. Yeah, Yonkers, we do not believe ever submitted anything.
Okay.
they were trying to find somebody.
All right, well, that takes care of that. And so, Penn Station access update, I did see something,
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yeah, there was actually a report, I'll distribute copies of it. Basically, it is, they're doing their preliminary planning, they're doing their environmental process and all of that. But, and this was something that was covered at the Capital Program Oversight Committee last month. What really is standing, I mean, there's a lot of desire for the project. There is in the Bronx, a lot of interest. What's really standing in the way is the completion of East Side Access, which is not in good shape.
Well, actually, they're at 72% completion right now.
Yeah, but they've got some really critical pieces that they're not getting
Actually,
Amtrak.
Jan Oliva gave us an update, and he's chief development officer.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's getting things together, and he's only been there for 3 months, but he has a plan to move it forward. And they have an arrangement with Amtrak for certain weekends and certain allowances that they can.
They're working on. I know they're working on this master schedule.
Yes,
That's
they
gonna
have
be-
it. They're in charge of it.
Yeah, it's going to cover everything within the operating area, and that's the big thing, is getting that work done at Harrow, because if it doesn't get done, the project can't move forward. They're actually moving along pretty well as far as the concourse and under Grand Central and the caverns there and everything. You know, things are moving along. This is on the Metro North side of the world. They're pushing this forward with an environmental analysis because they don't have that much new. I mean, they essentially don't have new right away.
Can you email this to Francina so she can have?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that was one of the documents I emailed with
Okay.
this is one of the documents I emailed along with it. But I think it's something it won't happen before 2022. December 2022 is the completion date for East Side Access. It can't happen until East Side Access
Sure,
gets
sure.
done, because there's just not enough track space, and they're going to have to reallocate. But I think MTA is certainly on board for it. If for no other reason than to keep New Jersey Transit, whose hunger for track space is pretty substantial itself. Keep them from looking for new slots in Penn Station.
I was
Back there.
involved in the planning of this thing, working for the sister. There was so much talk about Long Island Railroad is not going to let Metro North go in there. And even in the last few
Yeah.
years, there were these Long Island News say articles about that they don't want to give up the space for. But I'm glad that there's a new page is
The
turned
former
on.
president was very much opposed to giving up. She didn't care whether Metro North got into Penn Station. She just didn't want to give up any of Long Island slots in there.
And we were saying, we don't have enough equipment and enough
Doesn't
crews
work.
to keep running
Yeah.
the same level of service
Right.
there and there, so.
Right.
But you don't have the ridership
I mean,
either.
well, they don't. And the unfortunate thing about Penn Station is it's already way, it's already way over capacity. It was not built to handle the traffic it's handling now. So you can make a case that it would not be a bad thing for them to handle fewer riders. But of course, we have the new Moynihan train hall coming, and the Farley building being converted, so there's a lot of investment and you know, and a lot riding on getting that occupied, which.
And east side of Manhattan, the Vanderbilt Tower and all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's going up right now, and
Right outside, which is
right outside, and luckily they did get some exactions from the developer to pay for a lot of things in the station. I mean, there's what's called the Kenneth Cole Stairs that was opened near where the main entrance to the subway is, sort of up across that corridor. There's a new set of stairs, which are very nice and very useful to get down to some of the subway. So, you know, one of the end of the Lex platform, and then have access to the shuttle platform pretty easily. But there are a number of things that the developer agreed to do, including building some areas where people could wait, so not everybody is necessarily downstairs waiting for the train. So there's a lot of pluses. There were a lot of pluses to that agreement, and you know, to prepare the way for the coming of LIR service. So yeah, I mean, I think I'd just like us to to keep track of the Penn Station access, because I think there are some questions. Will be some questions about service that'll come up as we get deeper into that planning. And Metro North, to its credit, has for a number of years seen that their new market, their remaining market is really the Bronx, and they've for a number of years have tried to do more reverse peak service. Tried to obviously the Melrose Station increase that was noted in the chair's report. They put that in place, and they've done a lot of things to try to increase their outreach to the Bronx.
Worth having the conversation that, because I think so far, and maybe I'm wrong, is that they've been planning on, basically putting platforms at like Co-op City, which has a dense population. I mean, isn't it deserving?
Deprived area, that whole
Yeah,
section.
isn't it deserving of possibly a station house, and what are they thinking of actually doing there, and make it a TOD? What's the access points to it on how they're designing it? And we're getting close enough now where if we want that on the map, if we think that's useful, or at least having conversations with Metro North to say,
All right, we can ask them.
you can't do it, but having the city, this is a big boon for Co-op City in the Bronx, and doing it right is.
Yeah, I mean,
That's exactly something I would have expected you to be, but I'm interested in the service plan. I want to know if they're actually, what they're planning to do, whose trains they're going to take.
Because I'm on the New Haven line, or I don't understand.
Well, I want to know
The service plan
what kind of
that-
service plan they're planning to operate.
And what they operate probably, what they will operate there probably, will
As in
influence what they want to put there, just because.
Well, I think the Hudson Yards development makes it, before Hudson Yards existed, how many people, at least my feeling was, how many people were going to take it going into Penn Station, a pit, there's not as many people working far west.
Right.
Now with Hudson Yards, there is likely to have a larger, but I would think until you're actually a year out from the service to know what kind of demand there is, I don't know how they put together a service plan to, the service on the New Haven line is like subway service and into Grand Central, and people love the frequency of the service, and they love going into Grand Central. So, you know, parsing out where you're gonna lose possibly during the peak hour, you know, one train or two trains, so it's half-hour service. I think those are all complicated questions that when you have, you know, full employment or something at Hudson Yards, that's much easier. But with the real estate market, I don't know that it's safe to predict this many years out. But the planning of a
We
station.
have people, right, like Bill Wheeler, I mean, he's a planner and.
Oh, they know how many-
I don't question his
They can figure
ability,
it out.
no, but you don't know what the market is going to do.
But they should have some plans that they're
They
thinking
know-
about
they
doing.
know-
They have some plans.
They know what the build-out square footage is.
They do know what the
they may not-
build-out
They may not
square
know what
footage is.
they may not know when that's actually going to happen, based on, you know, economics. But the other thing to think about is it may not have as much of an effect on New Haven line service as you might think, because Metro North 1 runs a lot of zone expresses. They run trains from Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Mount Vernon down, basically there are
And that seems like
just
that
service
could
for the
be-
Bronx.
Right,
And they could do the same thing here, because they're not really sharing tracks south of New Rochelle. You're not sharing tracks with any
I
other
think
Metro North trains.
the markets are really,
Sharing with other
the
trains.
Stanford is a market, I believe, and White Plains is
Yes.
a market.
Right,
The reverse.
right, the reverse is a big, reverse is a big area, I think, and I think they recognize that reverse is going to be a lot of they're going to have nearly as much reverse as they are peak direction travel, just because, you know,
Well, at some future meeting, we should have,
we could have,
Metro North come and,
We can have them
talk to us
come in.
about this. And also, I know it's not part of this, but going down the Hudson line, going down the Empire Corridor into the
Right.
station,
And that's
back door, it's not, it doesn't show here.
yeah, it's sort of that was, at one, in the early planning of that, it was really in the, sort of, in the program, and it's been shifted to a phase 2 in the indefinite future. So it's, I mean, it's still there. They still say they want to do it, but they're not. They're
They
certainly
lost
not.
they lost the station that was the
Warren had a
opportunity
question.
point.
One of the big things you have is Gateway.
Right.
Now, Gateway has a profound impact on what's gonna go on at Penn Station. And I don't see these plans at all, considering what Gateway is gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, they still have only 2 tunnels, so they can't really run more than 26
Yeah, but
trains an hour.
they are going ahead
But
with some priority on that project, Randy, and we know that.
yeah.
You know, moving ahead with the environmental impact statement, and even if it was a token, they broke ground on Portal Bridge, which is part of the Gateway program. And I think that that has to be seriously considered into these plans. This is supposed to be not only a short-range plan, but a long-range plan.
Yeah.
And that's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, one of the issues about Gateway is that Amtrak would definitely like to do Penn Station south.
I know
A lot
that,
of opposition to it.
but there is a lot of opposition to it.
But what, at least I spoke at a meeting where Amtrak's coordinator for Gateway was also speaking, and what she said is, yes, we recognize there's community opposition, but the landowners really want this. They have landowners coming to them, asking what's going to happen, and when Amtrak is going to be doing development work on the south side of Penn, because they want to do an overbuild on the station. I mean, they'd like to overbuild on the station.
That's
and have that.
interesting, Bill, that they bring that up. You know, that would be a great example of transit-oriented development.
Right, and you know what's there. It's a lot of low buildings, warehousing. You know,
Right.
a church is there, and it's not. But it's not. It's not high rises. It's not high value stuff there. So I think there's definitely a land development issue there. What Amtrak has been to date prevented from really moving ahead with a lot of the expansion part of their plans under the Hudson, and around the Hudson, because FRA has told them that they had to wait for the Northeast Corridor study to be the phase 1 of the Northeast Corridor study and its environmental work to be done before they could advance anything that was not just replacement or renewal of what exists now. So they could get the gateway tunnels through by saying, well, we have to do this to replace the existing tunnels, but they weren't able to advance the environmental process on the Penn Station South because it was judged that they could not do this until the Northeast Corridor environmental process had proceeded.
Well, the other thing that we see west of Hudson is the extension of the number 7 subway train to Secaucus.
Yeah.
And
That would be a really, like a
it would be a boom
project to do.
to west of Hudson.
Well,
And
for region.
nobody is thinking about, totally about this whole thing of Hudson Yards, because you've got people coming from the east, but what about the people coming from the west? And that's where you have a very serious problem. The Lincoln Tunnel can't handle more buses right now.
It's at 115% of capacity.
It's 115% of capacity. And also, as this becomes more of a employment center, there's going to be more of a demand for people coming in from all over the region. And just to say, hey, the whole thing dies at the Hudson River is dead wrong planning. And so, that is something. Now, way back when I went to a meeting, Ronnie Hakem was the keynote speaker, and she spoke eloquently about the extension of the number 7 subway train to Secaucus. That was in front of the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce. Okay, I think we have to remind her about that, refresh memory, because that is something that has to be considered. And when we look at the whole thing with the Port Authority bus terminal and everything else, it should be part of a whole plan. We have to have a whole integrated plan for the region. And doing it just piecemeal is just not the way to do
I
it.
thought, isn't Scott Reckler a strong opponent of?
I didn't even spoke to him about it.
I thought when he was at the Port Authority, and I thought he has other reasons, I thought he is part of the group that wanted.
Well, you know what, I'll speak to him next week. I don't see him on Mondays because he doesn't attend any of the meetings I attend. So I will look.
Somebody to find out.
Yeah, there's traditionally been a lot of resistance, and you guys probably know this already, to that project because people, well, Tom Prendergast in particular was afraid that the trains would basically come into Hudson Yards full.
If you're on a decent level of service, it's not going to be an issue. And a
And
lot of people would be getting off at Hudson Yards.
well, yeah, I think what he was concerned is that there would be substantial development in Long Island City and around Grand Central that would also, people would also come from New Jersey and stay on the train until they got there.
If there was a lot of riders.
Until they got there, yeah, and that's the big, that's been the big issue at the MTA, I think.
The capacity, is there a capacity problem?
I don't know
When
if
you
there's
look
a
at the
capacity
size of the
problem.
They're running 2 minute
And the two
headways.
track.
I mean,
They're putting in the modern signaling system, I think.
they're going to run a 2-minute headway with the
11-car
CRTC
trains.
is in there. Yeah.
So, it's all sure, it's got to be all part of a plan. Now, you have to look at it, you have to look at the Port Authority bus terminal. If something goes wrong in the Lincoln Tunnel, what do you do with all these people?
But I think they drop them off at Secaucus and tell them to ride the train, and the trains are already overcrowded in the peak hour.
So you've got a lot of problems here, but there's no redundancy in the system under the Hudson River, like there is under the East River. The East River, you have a multitude of subway lines and things, and the Long Island Railroad.
There's no
The Long Island
question.
Railroad has 4 tracks.
Yesterday I was in Secaucus in the peak hour, and the train was there. People just couldn't get on. They just decided to wait for the next one.
We see the crowding, and it's pretty bad even now from Secaucus to Penn Station.
Maybe there has to be like a private-public partnership where the West Side, Brookfield and whoever else is over there contributes money, and Port Authority gives money, and the MTA gives money, and then they build this thing. I mean, maybe that's what it takes.
But it's, having additional ways under the Hudson River are critical, and it's something that has to be in the plans.
We could build Gateway, but we should still have that. I mean,
Absolutely.
it would take a lot of pressure off Amtrak if that was there, and it was NJT. All right.
Well, fortunately, there is an election over in New Jersey this fall, and maybe someone will come into office that doesn't want to spend all the transportation money on roads and highways.
Well, that's true. But Bill, I just want to say one other thing. It's my understanding that Community Board number 4 in Manhattan is for the extension of the number 7 subway train.
Yeah, I think that I remember that,
And also Paul Weisbrod, who's isn't he on the MTA board?
Carl's, yeah.
Sure. Well, didn't he, when he was part of the city,
Well, he was part of the administration.
pay for that initial study
Yeah.
back in 2013,
There
which
was a
was
whole,
a very
that's why there's a
comprehensive
whole
study.
group. Yeah, there was a large group pushing for it when we were doing the ULI stuff.
Yeah. No, the city paid for the initial, that initial
Yeah, I know. It
feasibility analysis, and so.
looked good. I saw it and went through it.
Yeah.
Well, NJR is for it, and Ellen is the buddy of Len Rusto, the president, right?
Yeah, so we might have a
Conversation,
good
and
meeting.
so I spoke with a fellow that Len had spoken with in Murphy's office, the other kind of candidate, and I called him the other day, and he spoke to me for a while, and everything I said he was on board with.
Well, that's good.
Getting, decent people on the board who ride the system, and getting people who have an understanding of what's going on there. And he didn't argue 1 second with what I said. So I said, if you need more, just give me a call anytime, and we'll see if we can work on this.
We're gonna have a meeting probably after
The election.
the election.
Yeah. And the other thing about the Metro North plan for this service up to, basically up to Stanford, I guess, through this east side route of the Bronx, there could be through service with New Jersey Transit, because they have proven that their equipment can run all the way up to New Haven. And,
It could be, yeah.
why wait? Why wait for the completion of East Side access when some of the off-peak trains, some of the trains that New Jersey Transit brings into Penn Station just go out and sit all day long in Sunnyside Yard? We saw that yesterday. If an arrangement could be made to get people up to Stanford as an alternative route, it could be very good. It could be the initial start, and off-peak starting getting those people also into Penn Station.
Yeah, I mean,
Did any of that study work get done before New Jersey Transit lost a lot of their?
I don't think they've been asked.
It's never.
I mean, it really hasn't been